Hello, everyone, and welcome to Doing Business in Bentonville. My name is Andy Wilson, and I'm the Executive Director, and I have got such a great guest for you today, and you can't wait because we're going to talk about something that's very, very exciting, and you have got to lean into this. Okay, Joel Ponce, welcome.
Thank you, Andy. Happy to be here.
Man, it is so great to have you here.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Okay, we met several months ago, and we have been talking. And I want to tell you, this is a new topic for me. I just got to say it, gaming, okay? My grandson does the gaming. I am not a gamer, but I am learning from my friend Joel here about gaming and where gaming is going, Joel. It's exciting, man.
Yeah, the world of gaming has evolved so much, and we'll dive into this deeper, but it has truly taken over culture and society, it feels like.
It's exciting. It is. And we're going to share, Joel is going to share and update all of you on where gaming is today, where it's going. The possibilities are endless, and he is going to share that with you. And I will tell you, you will love this. But let me just get into introducing my friend Joel to you a bit. Joel is co-founder and CEO of HashQ.
Yes.
Okay, I love the name.
No, I appreciate that. One of our co-founders came up with the name, and he kind of paired this word hashtag and haiku, and it's a little bit of a social poem.
Yeah, it's good. I love the name. I do. And then I found out that in my research with Joel and visiting with him, we're from Alabama.
Yes.
Now, people know I am from my accent, but you don't have the Southern accent like I do.
Hey, one of my grandma's friends one time told me I had a Southern accent in my Spanish. I did not know that was possible.
Well, I'll tell you, I'm glad, that we are kindred in spirit here from Alabama. But yeah, you went to University of South Alabama, correct?
Yes. Loved it there. Being right by the Gulf Coast was just an amazing experience, but spent a lot of time there. So
good.
Incredible place.
Well, Joel, you have got such a fascinating background, and I want you to share, if you don't mind, a bit about your background and how you got to Northwest Arkansas. Around the world, and now you're here, and I'm so glad you're here. And Joel, he lives close, and so we love that he's close because we can see each other some. And so, Joel, Tell us about your journey to Arkansas.
Yeah, it's definitely unexpected. I joke with people that Arkansas was never my bingo card. It was one of these things that just the right opportunity at the right time. So my parents are from Honduras. I lived a little bit there in Miami, Florida as well, in Alabama and Mobile specifically. But when I was graduating, I'd started a small business in college, but I knew I wanted to do more than that. And I really wanted to get in the brand space. And Alabama, South Alabama specifically, is more industrial. So you have Austell, you have ThyssenKrupp Steel. And so I knew I needed to look elsewhere. I saw an opportunity to intern at Saatchi and Saatchi X, as well as various other places. But Saatchi X really appealed to me. Actually, you were an influential part of that indirectly because you and Andy Murray, I remember, had recorded videos for the Soderquist Center.
That's right.
I ran into some of those videos, and I specifically remember one where Andy refers to life as a mosaic. Mm-hmm. And there was something about that video that really spoke to me. And I knew Andy wasn't there at the time, but I knew what he had built was something special that I wanted to learn from and be a part of. So I was fortunate to get the internship at Saatchi. I did not know anyone in Arkansas when I moved here. So I moved here truthfully thinking I'd be here 1 to 2 years, but May of this year will be 11. Wow. So I've definitely made this home. But Saatchi became an extended family. It was, to me, the perfect place to land to give me a really strong foundation.
Mm-hmm. Well, Andy Murray, he's our friend. He's a great guy. He's been on our show as a guest on Doing Business in Bentonville. He's coming back on, by the way, this fall. We've already talked. I can't wait to have him back on. But he's such a great individual, great leader, such a wisdom and knowledge. He's really busy today. He's doing great stuff around the world. And I remember clearly most of our conversations, and he really had a huge impact on my life also. So I'm glad that worked out. Now, talk about your company, what you're doing today. I think that's really interesting.
Yeah. So to get to the punchline, HashQ is helping brands connect with Gen Z at this intersection of gaming and the creator economy. And to take a little bit of a step back from that, it's just over the last decade, I've really been seeing the shift in media, right? So the shift in attention, engagement, and commerce, frankly. You've referred to recently as your phone as a store. I love that reference. I think that's so true. You've also seen the shift to social media. You've seen the shift away from cable television to more streaming. There's been all these different shifts, and throughout all of that, gaming has always been in the background, steadily growing at an exponential rate.
Right.
So viewership of esports now exceeds most of the major leagues in the U.S. except for the NFL. People never thought that like you would be watching somebody else play, but these are like professional players now.
Right.
And when I was at Paramount, I had the fortune to be surrounded by a team that was actually launching the Nickverse into Roblox, and got to see that and got to hear them talk about the metrics and everything, and was just impressed. Like, I had never seen that amount of attention spent in what is essentially an immersive ad experience.
Right.
You have a hard time getting people to watch 10 to 15 second videos. Attention is fleeting, but people are immersed in these worlds. So I just started connecting all these dots with this idea of our internet is really getting more immersive. It's going from a 2D and a flat internet to a 3D internet. And I really wanted to help brands be a part of that journey. And I felt like my experience both at Paramount, Saatchi, and DataRank, frankly, gave me the best opportunity to bring that to the table.
Well, you mentioned recently in a post to your viewers, you talked about how excited you are about 2024.
Yes.
So what's driving you this year? Where are you going? Where are you taking this thing?
Yeah, 2024 is really exciting for a lot of reasons. Number one, the space continues to move at a really, really fast pace, and there's always more things that we have the capability to do. But I'm also starting to see whether it's Walmart themselves leaning into the space through multiple Roblox experiences, or what they recently launched with Unity, that they've now launched an API that allows you to drive commerce within game experiences. So I see the industry adopting it, especially starting to at a retail level, which is important to us in this region. Personally, and for the company, I would say this is now year 2 of HashQ. So when we get to learn from year 1, we get to optimize some things a little bit, double down on what worked, really think through what are people asking us the most about. And it turns out the questions are pretty consistent. Everyone recognizes their kids, nieces, nephews, or grandchildren are spending time and money here, but they often don't know where to start. Or how do you even crawl, walk, run in this space? So we've now heard from our customer base a lot, and it's now really educating them in that journey and being their guide to help them get started, test and learn, and then ultimately expand into your day-to-day marketing activities.
Okay, that's huge. And so I like to unpack some of that, okay, for our guests, because they're like, okay, you mentioned Walmart and Unity. I'd love you to explain that, what that process is. But before you do that, just unpack where gaming commerce is going. Okay, because it's now more than some Gen X playing a game, right? It's much bigger than that now because of the opportunity for commerce. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
tell us where that's going.
Yeah, I'll give you kind of a little bit of a macro view of the evolution of gaming, and
that'd be great.
How that's connecting to the opportunities that are now available from a commerce perspective.
Okay.
So, and Cliff Notes version of it here is games way back in the day. Certainly, first of all, they were a static game experience. Everyone largely had the same experience. They eventually moved to multiplayer online type of games, open world type of games. Frankly, simulating more actual social experiences that you have in your day-to-day life, interacting and being able to play with others, being able to communicate with others. This was a huge boom in the world of gaming. That really opened the gates to the world of esports. I would say to date, there has been incredible brand awareness solutions in the world of gaming that are getting better every day, but there's been a lack of commerce solutions in this space. That's where we're starting to see a shift. That's where we're starting to see interesting opportunities. When I look at Roblox specifically, I'm reminded of myself as a kid walking down the cereal aisle.
All right.
I used to walk down the cereal aisle and say, Mom, I want this cereal. And rightfully so, she would say, Joel, are you even going to eat that? Mm-hmm. I'm sure I did not answer honestly. And I said, yes, but the reality is I just wanted the toy inside. Roblox allows us to leverage that toy inside. An in-game wearable item on Roblox is an incentive and reward for purchase behavior now. So we're actively leaning into this space and developing solutions at the intersection of gaming and commerce for our brand partners.
Right.
And there's just so many things. Like you're starting to see Walmart acknowledging that they need to be relevant with this next generation of consumers. Right. Just like 10 years ago, everybody was trying to be relevant with millennials, and everyone's now trying to connect with Gen Z. Oh, and by the way, gaming is not just Gen Z. Like this is a multi-generational platform.
Right.
And Roblox is not the only one. Fortnite has a huge opportunity here as well. And a lot of times it's just understanding the possibilities both within the platform and the ways that you leverage things like esports tournaments to drive commerce behavior through chat features. Mm-hmm. So the more you know about this space, the more you're able to develop a program that works for you based on what you're trying to do.
So how does your company, HashQ, how do you work with potential clients?
So think of us, the way we're functioning today is really more agency-like, I would say. So we'll talk to clients about what their upcoming programs and engagements are, who are they trying to reach. From that, we determine what the right platform could be for us to show up in, whether it's Roblox, Fortnite, or otherwise. And then we handle all the program development, all the asset development and everything. And, sometimes we'll partner up with very interesting digital creators. It's a new class of influencers where they're creating virtual wearable items, and some of them are doing really well to bring these things to life. We do a lot of education up front. I would say one of the biggest things that we do today is helping both brands and agencies do a bit of a gaming 101. What's happening in the world in gaming? What's Walmart doing? What are categories in my space, depending on who the brand is, doing? And how can I show up in a way that is impactful to customers? So there's a bit of an educational journey there. And then we develop a program to say, this is the way that you can come to life. And maybe there's a good, better, best approach to that. And then we'll align on this is the right way to start today. I would say that one of the programs I'm most excited about that we did last year is we were able to bring the Hershey company into Roblox through a Halloween execution last year. So we're able to help people celebrate Halloween with Hershey's, both in real life and in game. They had all these fun Reese's wearable items, Kisses wearable items, as well as Hershey wearable items. And of course, they had their Halloween basket with Hershey candy, some of which they could claim for free, some of which they could pay for. We saw, millions of people try on these outfits, and the amount of exposure time was insane through the roof. This allows Hershey's to now connect with that next generation of consumer. That's a really big deal to these brand managers.
That's exciting, and I love the futuristic piece of this. And if I was a supplier today, listening and watching this, I'd be leaning into you. Okay, so how do they find out? How do they contact you? Tell us about your website, all of that. So we'll also put this on our website, all that, doing business in Bentonville. But tell us about how we get in touch with you.
No, I appreciate it. I would say the best way to get in touch with me is through my LinkedIn. So just type in Joel Ponce on LinkedIn and reach out to me directly. Yeah. I would say that's the absolute best way. But I would actually go back a step and say, I wouldn't even say this is the future. I would say this is today.
Wow.
Roblox,
it's here.
It's here now.
Okay.
Roblox has over 70 million daily active users. Players are spending 2.5 hours a day on this. Now, they don't do that in a single session.
Yeah.
They're in and out, just like social media.
Yeah.
Social media, has insane metrics like that too. And Gen Z specifically is spending more time on Roblox than they do on TikTok, on YouTube, or on Instagram. These are some of the things that to me were eye-openers that, frankly, when I looked at it from my seat at Paramount, I was like, man, I loved both my team and everything I was doing at Paramount, but I also saw this as an opportunity to lean and help, both brands and agencies navigate into the space. And I knew I would regret not taking this chance to build a company that allows people to do that.
Wow.
So I would argue this is today. It's not tomorrow, and it's frankly getting more exciting by the day.
So today, actually, the suppliers, if you're interested in reaching, how large is Generation Z?
So Gen Z by 2026 is actually going to be the biggest generation of consumers.
Right.
So that's another thing. A lot of people think of Gen Z as a thing I need to figure out later.
But it's here.
This is the thing you need now. 2026 is right around the corner. And if there's a big thing that I learned, certainly during my time at Nickelodeon or with that team within Paramount, is kids influence purchase behaviors more than ever. And this is constantly increasing. So they have both their direct spend and the older part of Gen Z already has kids. Yeah. But they also influence it indirectly. I joke with people that my future car purchase is influenced by an unborn child. Like my wife and I don't have kids, and I already know that the next car I purchase needs to be a bigger, safer vehicle for that child. I was like, this is crazy. Yeah. And that's happening all day, every day. Yeah. So there is an interesting nuance here where I would say our world of retail always thinks about shopper for many, many good reasons. And you do need to think about those shopper barriers and how to overcome them. But you also need to realize that, man, the consumer, which, in this case may not be the same, they have an incredible amount of influence, and reaching them where they are on their platform of choice is a really big unlock as well. And I would argue it's not one or the other, it's both. It's how do you create a cohesive program that drives your message home?
That's exciting. And it's awesome. It's here now. Yeah. And this generation, like you said, is going to be the largest generation in a couple more years. Yeah. And so if you're a supplier, you need to be leaning into this now, because you got 2 years. This becomes your largest audience, if you will. And now's the time. That's what I'm hearing you're saying.
Absolutely. And you're also dealing with a generation that uses ad blockers more than ever. So a lot of your marketing tactics you're using today, probably ignoring one way or another.
Right.
So there's an interesting component where it's not too late to be early. And I would say that's important. You can learn early on from what's already happening in this space and in the category. And then you can, double down on what works for you and your brand.
Mm-hmm. Okay. It's not too late to be early. I think that's the tagline. We're going to have to tagline this podcast for that. That's really a great saying, Joel. It really is. Okay. Now, you talked about Walmart. You talked about Unity. What other retailers, online, brick and mortar, what other retailers are really leaning into this, in your opinion, doing a great job?
Yeah, I'll mention some retail examples and other broader examples as well of I would consider best-in-class examples. So I'll mention QSR first. Chipotle years ago, this was 2-3 years back, did an amazing Halloween activation. They called it the Burrito Maze. Mm-hmm. They built a Chipotle inside of Roblox and had a fun maze, and you could participate in this experience, but you were able to claim codes for a free burrito that you could claim in stores nationwide. I heard one of their social media managers talk about this at a conference, and she mentioned that this is to date one of their most successful coupon redemption programs they've ever had. And when you think about that experience, it makes sense. You have a largely, let's say kids around 13-ish playing these games, and they're playing a game, but then they get this redemption, and they're going to go to mom and dad and say, Mom, Dad, I got a free coupon for a free burrito. So then you drive as a family there and you buy many other things. So that to me is the best example in the world of QSR today. I'll give you an unexpected one that's not in retail, but we'll go back to retail for a sec. Fidelity, somebody that nobody thinks about in trying to reach this younger consumer, because you don't find out about your 401k usually until you're a young professional. I thought they did something incredibly smart. They're leaning into the understanding of these platforms and different game types. So one of the game types within Roblox is tycoon games. So what a tycoon game is you build resources. So they're teaching kids financial literacy through this game they developed called Pancake Tycoon, brought to you by Fidelity. So Fidelity is now introducing themselves to a younger generation much earlier than they ever would have. And it makes sense, because younger and younger generations are finding out about Robinhood and all these other platforms. Fidelity doesn't want to miss out. In the context of retail, you've seen Amazon build experiences in the space. You've seen Target do so as well. Walmart's built multiple. Right. I would argue that their most recent experience is by far the best. Huge compliments to the team at Walmart that has been doing this. For those, looking and listening or wanting to research, look up Walmart Discovered on Roblox. So they're creating an experience that I think is so smart. They're elevating trending items within the Roblox platform, within their experience, within essentially virtual departments. So it's so smart. It has now become a destination where people can go to and find out what items are trending on Roblox through their specific experience. I think it's very smart. They've also made a point to visually show some of the brands that maybe this generation doesn't think are within Walmart, but they are. So imagine brands or collaborations with like talent or celebrities, and this is certainly a growing trend. If they can visually show it or reference it in some way, it's a little bit of a connect with that generation of like, oh, this is available at Walmart? I didn't know that. That's been really interesting that they looked into. So there's so many elements, but I think Walmart's done a good job, and they've done a great job of testing, learning, and improving very quickly, by the way. Walmart Discovered is not a one-off experience. It's a persistent world. They're now refreshing it seasonally. So I expect they will continue to do more of that and eventually likely bring suppliers along the journey with them.
Mm-hmm. Wow, this is so exciting. One of the things that I love about retail and this omni-channel experience, and that's really what this is the whole omni-channel experience, is that it's just changing.
Yep.
And I grew up at Walmart, and I grew up in the brick and mortar, and then, as we began to transition to food and then into online, all of that. And now what's happening in retail is I was excited before. I'm even more excited of where it's going to go and what it's going to do for this next generation and how they're going to shop and be informed and connected. And it's going to be into that retail space or omni-channel space that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
I'll reference something that ties, I think, specifically to this concept of omni, and that I think is really powerful in this world of gaming. And you're starting to see early tests. I believe this is going to happen significantly more. This idea of a digital twin. So you had Boss actually do something really interesting, that they had Boss, apparel that, was tied to NFL teams, and there's a digital equivalent of the physical item that people could get on Roblox. So imagine the idea from a marketer's perspective is likely, hey, dad is buying this thing for himself, and then, son or daughter is able to claim the same exact thing to dress up like dad in their game on Roblox. And they're leaning into insights that Roblox is uncovering. So Roblox is doing a great job of, leaning into studies with the Parsons School of Design and other places that are sharing things like the following. This generation is really valuing their digital avatar. It's a form of self-expression for them. 53%, I believe it was, stated that their virtual closet is worth as much, if not more to them than their physical closet. YPulse has talked about the difference in generations in gaming. They state that millennials largely gamed as a way to escape and disconnect, where Gen Z is actually gaming as a way to connect with people. That's a big difference. And if you as a brand can show up and bring a really compelling experience for Gen Z to game with their peers and have a positive moment that you facilitate, like, that's a win.
Right.
So there's all sorts of things that we see, like this idea of a digital twin, this idea of leveraging a in-game wearable item as an incentive and reward for purchase behavior in stores, for having samples at Sam's Club, for attending an in-person retailtainment event at Walmart. Like there's a lot of ways that you can leverage not only the platform, but the things that this generation wants. They're actively craving these things and they're paying for it. Like there's a significant portion of Gen Z, according to the study, that is paying anywhere between $20 to $100 per item in some cases. And if you can facilitate some of these things for free, it's a big value you're bringing to the table at a fraction of that cost.
Well, that's huge. That's a big price tag.
Yeah.
And I don't know another generation that has that price tag on what we're talking about.
No, and it's, this is not to throw out tons of metrics, but some of these things were really impactful to me. Like when you look at Roblox and Fortnite, what they've generated revenue-wise in selling virtual items It's greater than some of the biggest brands in the world that you know. They're generating more revenue than like Ralph Lauren or than Under Armour, selling virtual items. Like if they were a fashion brand, they'd be one of the biggest fashion brands in the world. But you don't think of them as that.
Okay. That alone in this podcast is enough for suppliers to run to this. Just like you said, it's here already. And so, yeah, I love that. Okay, Joel, I got to just ask you about the future.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, we're talking current. We're definitely calling it current present today. I'd love to get in that great brain of yours and tell us what you're thinking about the future if you can.
No, absolutely. And I'll give you thoughts of where I see some of this going. I think an underdog in the fight at the moment that, has a big target on their back is Meta, and obviously with the rebranding and all the hype for better or for worse that drove around the metaverse, they're still a major platform. And while Horizon is not huge right now, they have an immense user base through WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook. They can drive users to things that they built. But I do see, right now we find people thinking about singular experiences. Do I show up in Roblox versus Fortnite versus Minecraft versus Horizon, whatever? Over time, I believe, just like with social media, today you're not often having a conversation of this channel versus that channel. Now, obviously, there's priority channels that you lean into more, but you end up having a broader social media strategy. I believe the same thing is going to happen with gaming. You're not just going to think about a single channel, but you're going to say, here's my overall strategy for gaming. Here's what I do from a brand awareness standpoint of gaming. Here's what I do to drive commerce within gaming. And within the commerce component, I believe that's going to be split in two ways. You're going to have virtual commerce, literally selling of virtual items, which is going to become a new product category for many of these brands, as well as leveraging in-game experiences or the actual virtual items to incentivize and reward purchase of physical items. So there's just going to be this interconnectedness between the real world and the virtual world is only going to get stronger.
It's so exciting.
Yeah.
It's so exciting. I'll tell you. Okay, now this has been great. This has been so great being with you. I knew it would be, and I'm so excited to have been part of this. Now, something else about the future. I want you to come back.
Yep.
Okay, because you have to keep us up. You have to become our expert here. Okay, for our audience, and I know they're going to love hearing even more and more from you. But you should come back and maybe we bring some generations to see a couple people with us.
I love that.
Here. Okay. And
by the way,
hear from them.
I think that's the best group to learn from. I was going to say, I should have paid more attention much earlier. I had young cousins or nephews that were playing Roblox way before it was super top of mind. I was gifting them Robux and V-Bucks for Christmas. I should have known. Yeah. I would argue probably a lot of the audience did a similar thing during the holidays. I now see some of that generation playing things like Rec, by the way. So yes, pay attention to what's happening in your own household. Like there's something there. Yeah. Like in the world of marketing, like where attention goes, money flows, and marketers have to figure out where the attention is and find and meet customers where they're at. And that's where it's happening right now.
Well, you said you said something else great. We have to underline it. Where attention goes, money flows. Okay, that is so true. Because I have purchased most of these games. I'm just saying, not for me though.
Yeah.
As gifts, right? And I can see that, and you've got me excited about it for sure. Okay, Joel, if we wrap up, okay, what would you leave our audience, our viewers with?
Yeah, a couple of thoughts. One, I know some of this can sound overwhelming and like a lot. I would say feel free to use me and us as HashQ as a guide. We can help you navigate this piece by piece. There is a bit of a crawl, walk, run element to it. You don't need to digest it all at once. There's ways to get started, and there's, I would say ways to develop a plan that allows you to test at your speed, whatever that is, depending on who you are and what you're trying to achieve. So number one, just saying, we're here to help. anything we can do to be a resource to, whether it's a gaming 101 conversation or just hearing what you're dealing with. How are you as a brand, as an agency, as a retailer, connecting with this next generation and, sharing our thoughts and insight if that's valuable. And, and I would say there's a lot of good knowledge out there, honestly, and I will happily share some good resources for you, Andy, so we can put on the notes of the podcast. So if people want to dive deeper, again, they can personally reach out, but they can also listen to some stuff themselves.
Well, for sure. When we post this podcast, you can go to our website, Doing Business in Bentonville. We'll have Joel's contact information there, information about the company. We'll have anything that you provide for us as contacts, but actually in driving people to your company, and we'll do that. And it's just been so exciting to have you.
No, thank you. It's been a pleasure being here. I appreciate it.
I'm going to do my even more research than I did to have you in about this industry, where it's going. And so when you come back, we'll get a bit deeper into it. We'll also have a couple of guests with us in Generation Z. But Joel, this has been one of the most exciting interviews I have done. I want to tell you so much how much I appreciate you being here. It's such a pleasure to have met you.
No, thank you. Likewise.
I value our relationship and friendship, and I want you back a lot. I'm just telling you, because the future's now, but the future's going to be unbelievable in this space for retailers and suppliers, the whole thing. Absolutely. I can't wait. Actually, I can't wait to do this journey with you. That's how I'm looking forward to it.
I appreciate it. And likewise, and I would say I can't wait for us as HashQ to be a part of that journey for anybody listening as well. Like, we want to be a part of that journey with you, and again, to be a guide and a helpful partner in figuring this out.
It's going to happen. I know it will. To all of our viewers and listeners, thank you so much. This has been such an inspiring conversation. Joel, again, thank you so much. It's just a pleasure. Again, check us out. We're on Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and you can check us out there, the streaming. Also, don't forget to go to dbbnwa.com. That's our website, Doing Business in Bentonville. You'll find all of our articles on retail or on omni-channel, and all of our podcasts are there too. Again, thank you so much, Joel. Thank you. It's been wonderful.
I appreciate it.
I'm looking forward to next time. Goodbye, everyone. Have a great day.